Hello, hello, and welcome. This is Barbara J. Beckley from DFN Broadcast Studios, which I also cover Achieve TV channel. On Achieve channel, we have a wonderful, awesome, amazing, yes, I'm biased, show that we have called the Achieve Expert Spotlight, where we spotlight some amazing leaders and members from Achieve community. Now, we created this because we wanted to make sure not just getting to know the person in the conferences that Achieve has or the educational sessions they have, because a lot of times it's kind of like you're running in there, you're saying hello, you're meeting somebody, and then you really want to just get to the chance to know them more. And then sometimes you can't do that because you're meeting under other wonderful Achieve members. And we have a wonderful, amazing guest today. Oliver, I'm telling you, I just got a chance to know him, and he is full of energy, full of bursts of energy. And he has a lot of accolades. I mean, he's a speaker, he's an author, and he really gets into wellness and health, which we should all need to be listening to him right now. So this is going to be amazing. We're going to learn a lot from him. Get your piece of paper and get your pen because you're going to want to take some notes with Oliver. And we'll be right back and we'll get to meet this wonderful, I call royalty, so I'm going to call him King Oliver. Here we go. And we are back. Yes, we're back. Achieve, if you're just chiming in, this is the Achieve Expert Spotlight Show, which we spotlight wonderful, amazing experts under the Achieve community umbrella. What we have right here is Mr. Oliver. Hello, Oliver. How are you doing today?
Hello, Barbara. I'm doing great.
Yes. See, he's already full of energy already. He's already expressing it already to us. That's what we need. That's what I need. I'm a little be just plain point blank. I need that. I mean, you just bring it. I love it. So,
All right.
first of all, before we even start with the conversation and get to kind of know you a little bit better, thank you. I always want to say thank you because you're giving up your time to come on the show and to really talk about the love, the passion, the mission that you have, especially when it comes to health and wellness and really, really triggering some of those chronic diseases, that you deal with people, and just in general, how to just make sure that you don't maybe get to that point, right? Or if you just dealt
Right.
with it. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, yes. So, I always like to pull back the curtain. Yes, yes, yes. Just like in the Wizard of Oz, when he was trying to hide himself. It's like he's like, don't look at the man back there. Just keep looking at me. But sometimes it's nice to pull that curtain so you really get to know a person and why. Always want to know the why that they do what they do. So, Oliver, can you give us just a little bit take on just jumped into and really just said, I want to really hone and have this mission when it comes to health and wellness?
Sure. Yeah. Well, in my 30 years of business, boy, I'm already 30 years, and just I've owned health clubs. I had like a franchise personal training studio at one time, and then just as I keep, kept getting older, like all of us, just downsized, and then to where it's just like my small operation now, and it's just what I'm doing is just really specializing in like chronic diseases, as you mentioned, as well as injury recovery, because so many people are dealing with like back injuries or after like a hip shoulder replacement, and then we need to get them strong again. So that's what a lot of my work entails.
Wow. So now, did you? I mean, when you first, like you said, you own like health centers and everything. At that point in time, you said this, like you said yourself, you just want to really hone into some more because I know health is like huge. It's a huge
Sure.
umbrella, right? So you
Oh
can
yes.
pick from everywhere. So was there any type of time where maybe you dealt with or know somebody that was in close to you that dealt with some chronic illnesses, which got you to kind of really thinking about it?
What was during that time, like when I had health clubs, for example, when,
Mm,
and obviously I didn't plan it this way, but as people would just come to me, just of course, you just got to still help Larry and Susie lose 30 pounds. We always, that's still the number one reason why fitness professionals get hired. And then, but then little by little, it's like, okay, because having grown up an athlete myself, I've had probably most of these injuries and know how they work.
mm,
And so when one person would come, like with a given injury, as well as I still remember my first Parkinson's disease patient who was
mm,
referred to me by his daughter, who said, "Hey, you think you could help my dad here?" I
mm,
had no clue how to help a chronic disease patient, and I just walked them
mm,
through it. I just kind of took them through a strength training routine, kind of like I would do, like any other client, and then he actually did very well with it. And so obviously over the years, as more and more of these kind of folks started getting referred to me, it just made sense. Now I just really now just take the time
mm,
to learn more about these diseases, these injuries, and here
mm.
I am today, now specializing in that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I give you so much kudos for it, Oliver, because a lot of times, like you said, we don't really know. I mean, we know, you hear about the disease or somebody tells you about it, or you might know somebody that has it, but really understanding the journey on, you could work through it. See, a lot of times when they hear it from the doctor, or if you're like, oh my God, I got this chronic disease. It's like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. And it doesn't have to be. So I want you to talk a little bit about that because, like you said, you deal in that expertise of it, that it doesn't have to be the end of the world for you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I got to be careful, like how I approach some of this, because when it comes to like medical type of issues, then it's just, I do my best to not override or try to just speak against like doctor's orders. But oftentimes people get misdiagnosed.
Mm,
One of my fellow fitness professionals, Phil Kaplan, and of course, anybody in our industry is going to probably recognize his name. There were times when he had some of his own health issues, and his doctor essentially diagnosed him with Parkinson's disease, as well as another doctor saying that he had some other ailment that now required him to amputate like part of his lower leg, and he just refused to accept it. And then he got other opinions, did his own research, talked to other specialists. He did not have Parkinson's, and he did not have to have his leg amputated. So we have to be careful, like how we get some of these diagnoses. So I should, mention that.
Oh, you know what? First of all, thank you for mentioning that. Like you said, we want to be careful with that. But I'm glad that you said that particular story because that tells us all that if you feel that you need to get a second opinion, don't feel bad about that. It's just interesting you said that because at my job, because I have a day job too, and not just doing this media, but they just recently for our coverage, they added an extra coverage where if you want a second opinion on something that's going on, that is covered. Because before it wasn't covered, you had to pay, the full cost of everything. I mean, where I'm at right now. But when they added that, I was kind of happy to see that because like you said, Oliver, love my doctor. I've been going to him for 20 years. I love him dearly. Put it out there to him. Love, love, love. But when certain things happen in your body in your life, you really, really want to make sure, not saying so much you don't agree with them, but you want to make sure because that's your body, that's your life, that's something that you're going to have to deal with. And if you're telling me that you got to cut off a limb, then I need to, yeah, I think I need to check that out just a little bit more, right? So I'm glad that first of all, our coverage is, I mean, like I said, where I work at covers those second
Right.
opinions. So you
Sure.
don't have to, so you can go out and make sure you're making that right decision. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And then when I talk specifically about injuries, of course, back injury being the most common. And then, like that, I have a specialized program that's dedicated to just back injury solutions, or what I call the Optimal Fitness Systems back care solutions,
Mm,
dedicated to obviously back because that is the most common injury.
yes.
And then, and in the same fashion, I've heard so many whose doctors just simply resort to just saying surgery is just the way you
Mm,
need to go. And probably most of the time, and I could have others probably concur with me on this, is that it's just probably not necessary.
Mm. Now, with back injuries, going back to that, because like you said, that's like the majority of injuries. I don't have a back injury, but I have back problems now that I'm
Uh,
getting older and everything, and I gained a little bit
right.
more weight, which I'm working on. Working on that with my doctor. Thank God for him. But I'm noticing, with the back, I was like, okay, now what do you do? So I want to ask you, what type of ways that if a client came to you, of how you handle that with them.
Sure. Well, like most other ailments, injuries, every individual is just that individual. And I find that a lot of times it's just as I just kind of assess and evaluate each client separately, it's just
Mhm.
every one of them are going to have like different symptoms, different
Mhm.
pains, and
Yeah.
different sources of where those pains are coming from. And then
Mhm.
oftentimes with back injuries, people are surprised to discover it's not the back itself. Go figure. Because a lot of times,
Oh.
like the hip flexors could be tight, the gluteus, piriformis. And
Mhm.
when those are tight, it just really pulls on the hip structure
Mhm.
to the point where it gives the impression of like that back pain feeling, where it's
Yeah.
everything's connected. So yeah, so they're gonna feel pain in the back, but
Mhm.
not so much because of the back itself.
Mhm. See, you're bringing up some really golden nuggets for us to really think about this health, because I like you said that, because when I went to my doctor and I was like, I said, lately my back's been really bothering me, and sometimes even when I stand up for a while, I just feel it right in the middle, right there, right. And like I said, I've been knowing him for 20 years, so he could talk to me. We talk. It's not like he could just say stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, because you're my doctor forever. He said, Barbara, it's probably not, your back is hurting because of something else.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I just like you. I said, okay, what is it? What do you think? He
Yeah.
said, your back is hurting you because you have, he said, I hate to say it like this. He said, I'm gonna say it to you because I've been knowing you for a while, because you gained some weight and your stomach's out there a little bit. He said, so your back is trying to carry this extra weight that didn't have before. I said, oh, I was like, Albert, I'm like, but I lost 10 pounds. He said, you got to lose a little bit more.
Right.
So with that said, Oliver, that's what it was so much, because my back was hurting so much, because I was, like you said, you were talking about the other sections in your body, back can handle so much. So
That's right.
that's, yeah, that was my thing that I found out, which I was like, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad we found out. And that's what I'm working on. But yeah, but until then, Oliver, it hurts.
Barbara, sounds like you got a great doctor. Who's gotten to know you that well, and hopefully he spends more than like 7 minutes with you. When you visit with him, because that's about the time that all the time that today's doctors
Yeah,
within so much demand. That's about all the time they have to dedicate to talking, to
yeah,
conversing with each of their clients. And so
yeah. Yes,
in
that's
that
it.
time period, it's just really hard to really get to the root of what some of
Mhm.
these injuries or some of these diagnoses can be. So that's why I would always encourage folks to just always question and get second opinions.
And ask those questions. I mean, like you said, 7-10 minutes, looking, talking to your doctor only. I know that's really, not enough time at times, but sometimes you just have to, and that's what I started doing, especially when I was going through different other uh, health changes in my life. I was like, okay, I need answers here. I need to, I even told the nurse one time, I said, where is it where I can get an appointment, even if I have to wait a few months, that I can sit with him a little bit longer, because I got some things we need to look at.
Good.
So, it's a demand from us as patients too at a certain time, that we have to just ask the questions more, like you said. Yeah.
That's right.
and
That's
and,
right.
and that's where you come in too, Oliver, because I like you said, you really said, I want to really focus on certain ailments, certain chronic diseases, so we can really help the people that are really dealing with that. Because I've been hearing about Parkinson's disease coming up more and more lately.
And that and many other diseases. And
Yeah.
we're not just talking old people anymore. It's like I'm
No.
hearing like 30-year-olds having strokes, getting multiple sclerosis. And it's just because we kind of know why. I mean, our diet over these last 30, 40 years has just really gone down a tank there. And then as well as lifestyle. We
Yes.
just now live in that technology age to where it's not as many jobs require like that manual labor, like
Mhm.
agricultural farming and that type of stuff. Where people back then, we're required to just
Mhm.
be physical. So not as much today.
Yeah, you're right, Oliver. We gotta move more. When I see younger children or even in their teens and stuff, and they be just doing this all day,
You got it.
and I don't even see them move their wrist or their arm or any. They move this though. This is getting a lot of exercise.
Mhm.
And even with that, sometimes you get carpal tunnel. But I hate to say it, I don't want
Yeah.
to put it on anybody, but yeah, it can happen. But because I type all day too. But like you
Yeah.
said, Albert, we need to reanalyze ourselves as everybody, all different ages. I mean, I'm doing it myself. Like I said, back to with my doctor, looking at fruits and vegetables and really more stuff than just running out, getting food and say, okay, I ate some blah blah blah, all and then now you're trying to
Right.
figure out why you have these ailments, how you figured out, well, what happened? How did I get sick on this? Well,
Well, sure. Well, I mean, when it comes to nutrition, I mean, I'm a nutrition coach as well. So, and the basic of that is pretty simple. I always, first of all, point out hydration. I cannot emphasize that enough. People just will not hydrate, and of course, the older people get, the less they drink water, and that's just it. Just oh boy, it makes my blood boil to the point where it's just like, look, folks, it's like you'd rather take a pill, you'd rather get a surgery, you'd rather deal with whatever ailment you're dealing with. You're dizzy, your headache, and you got skin issues, could all be resolved just by staying adequately hydrated. And it
wow.
just drives me nuts to no end if I could just
Mm,
get people to now just remind themselves to stay hydrated. You
most
mentioned
definitely.
fruits, vegetables. If people simply consumed 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, along with staying hydrated, I believe we could essentially eliminate like heart disease and a
Mm,
lot of these other like forms of cancer that are so
mm.
prevalent today.
Ooh, yeah, tell it to the mountain, Oliver. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Yes, especially with both, like you said, all two together. I don't know
Right,
something about the water. Like you say, push, 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 push. We need to push that water in us. It makes a huge difference. A huge
for
difference.
sure.
Yeah. And now I want to ask you well, I know we talked about the different ailments and stuff like that you help people with, but are you looking for particular certain clients to come to you? Because we want to make sure that the audience knows, exactly who you're looking for to help. So any particular ones or just anybody with those ailments?
It's well, obviously those with those kind of injuries as well as those kind of chronic diseases, of course. And because I'm just trying to as I am getting more opportunities to be able to speak like to other fitness professionals, to like speak at some of
Mhm.
these other conferences with those kind of folks in mind. Just bringing it to their attention. Look, folks, this is a big market. There's so I mean, who of us don't know somebody with some chronic disease or don't know somebody who's injured who needs some help with it, with all these things. So
Yeah.
there's obviously a very big market for that out there. And of course, yes, I should help Susie lose 30 pounds if somebody still wants to come to me with that as well. So and I still love working with athletes. So it's like in my 30 years, yes, I've worked with quite a wide range of clientele there.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, I want people to understand who you work for and all that you said that you do for people. That's awesome. And I love that you bring, which you have to, is no way getting around. You have to bring in the nutrition part, just like we talked about,
Of course.
with everything else, because sometimes that's like the common denominator.
That's for sure. Well, actually, when it comes to like some of the what we call the psychiatric diseases, like when people start
Mhm.
developing dementia, Alzheimer's disease that
Yeah.
affects the mind, I would
Mhm.
actually put nutrition first because we need to fuel them properly from the
Mhm.
inside out. Now,
Yeah.
fuel, make sure they're getting all the good nutrients. Now, oxygenate the bodies, all the cells of their body, and then to start with them that way. So, nutrition is actually very high there.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Albert, because as we get older, I mean, that's one thing I have to say. I have to admit, I'll say it to myself because I don't want to put on anybody else out there. If you're thinking the same thing, that's good. Alzheimer's disease. I'm nervous about that because I don't want to get old and all of a sudden I just forget everything. I don't know who I am and everything, and what's going to happen. So, a lot of times I play those little games, those
Right.
puzzles. I'm just being honest to keep my mind going, because I'm working all the
Of
time.
course.
But do you have any like tips for that particular disease?
Oh, sure. Like when I give talks about specifically about when it comes to like dealing with chronic disease, we use this training method, just simply called, well, I mean, kind of fancy word, neuromotor training. Just kind of a fancy term, simply meaning just kind of another form of resistance training, weight training.
Okay.
So in the sense that specific to obviously the disease folks and like using certain forms of what we call like yielding isometric type of like static contraction type of training.
Okay.
And we have found that research continues to uh, support that through like some of this forms of neuromotor training, not only can we slow down the effects of disease, we can even reverse it, which people find amazing.
Really?
So, so let's just keep pushing that. Yes. And in fact, kind of going back to my first Parkinson's patient, he was like in his mid 70s, and his doctor essentially send him home to say, okay, sir, it's you're getting old, so just go home and die, essentially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so and it's kind of through the training that we did. Boy, I mean, he just within a few short months was just now just holding 50-pound dumbbells in each hand and just really being able to kind of generate some power, some strength, and his family was just quite amazed. I was amazed. It's kind of how he was almost walking normally again and able to command those steps and stairs like he hadn't been able to do in a long time. And so we
Mhm.
know that it works. And to back that up, I just love quoting Dr. Salas. He's a medical doctor as well as being a fitness enthusiast, physical trainer as well. And coming from him, coming from a doctor, this is very important that he says, you know what, we always tout the importance of cardio health. And yes, heart cardio health is important,
Yeah.
but he says even above that, he would say brain health is the most important.
Oh, okay. That's good. Thank you for sharing that because that's really good. I loved how first of all, I love the story back to the Parkinson's disease person, how they was about to just tell him, okay, you're that's all we can do for you. And you basically said, okay, I think we have something to kind of turn this around. And look what he did. I mean, that's
Sure.
amazing. Amazing. Yeah, sometimes just listening and getting that other opinion could do wonders. Could do totally
Right,
wonders.
for sure.
Wow. So with that, I was going to ask you, going back real quickly to the back pain relief. And I know you have to look at each person individually to a certain extent, but as a whole, like, what is this one thing that you can kind of give the audience as something that we can, work on to, maybe avoid it, like pain relief or just something that could help
Well, okay. Are we asking just pain in general or specifically for the back?
for the back?
Okay, for the back is what we got to find out, like what it is that's causing your back pain. Is it the back? So let's look at some of these other areas and then just be able to show them some basic like stretch techniques as well as certain exercises, simple exercises, movements that we can now incorporate to be able to determine like the source of their back pain, as well as now to find some ways to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I like, Oliver, is that the first step is you're saying to all of us, and hopefully people are listening, is, and this was eye opener, what you just said about a lot of times it might not be the back. So that's the first step is to find out where that pain is really coming from. Go to, Oliver or, other, I always say Oliver because we want to recommend Oliver, but to understand where it's coming from. So you're dealing with the pain in the way it should. Like I
Correct.
always tell people, you don't want to take a pain pill for a headache, and it might not be the head. It might be something else that's causing it, and you're taking for something else, and you're like, oh, it was that. Oh, I thought it was for my head. So don't examine yourself. Don't go on what's this WebMD, which I used to always
WebMD.
do, and then Oliver, I did that a few times, and I had to stop myself because after I looked at everything, I thought I had everything that was on that website.
Okay, yeah, gotta be careful there.
You do. I was like, because I was like, oh, I got that symptom, and oh, I got that symptom too. And wait, they mentioned another symptom. So you know how
Now you
that
can
goes.
see. Yeah. Now you know why so many people get misdiagnosed.
See, I just proved it to everybody. Don't do what I did. Oh, Oliver, you have been a joy, and I'm so grateful again for you coming on Achieve Experts. You really
Yeah.
taught me a lot, and hopefully, I know the audience is learning a lot from this as well. So, I want to make sure that I just give you just a little bit more time to give any lasting thoughts regarding health, wellness, or what you want to people to come with. So, I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for this opportunity and thank you for tuning in. So, as we talked about, understand first of all that this life you have, it's only one life. You can only get one chance at it. So, make the best of it. For those of you who are just fallen ill to like certain type of these diseases that maybe we talked about here today, as well as suffering through some of these injuries, I always tell folks is just explore all possibilities as well as don't limit yourself. Because as you seek out other alternatives and other possible solutions, you probably will find them, as with some of the clientele that I work with, as well as some of my fellow fitness professionals that I regularly communicate with, and how they say it's some of their folks have just were given death sentences practically and then but revived through just understandings how to now be able to live life fully, abundantly, and be able to live the life you dreamed. So go and do that.
Woo woo! I can listen to you for a little bit longer. You would give us some good information, Oliver. Thank
Yeah,
you
thank you.
again, sir. I welcome you to Achieve Experts. You've been with Achieve Community for over 2 years, and you're a great, wonderful asset. I just want to tell you from me to you that it was been a pleasure interviewing you and your family. So anytime you want to come back, Oliver, and talk about different things that you're doing in the wealth and health industry, and just maybe give us some more lessons on some things. We would love to see you again. Yes.
Well, thank you, Barbara. This has been a pleasure.
It has been it's been a great pleasure. And again, please contact. I want to make sure. Let me put this up here because I don't want anybody saying, "Well, okay, you had Oliver on. How do I get in contact with him?" Well, boom, there you go. His email address is right below. It's in the tickler. In fact, I want to make sure that they can see it. So let me just okay. There we go. I was trying to make it a little bit bigger, but give me
Yes,
one
OFS
second.
at optimumfitnessco.com.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that there we go. I want to
All
make that
right.
bigger. Yeah. So please, if you have any issues, if you have any questions, or just, like he said, get those second opinions if you can. This is your body, this is your life. That's what I want to say. So you need to make sure you're treating and you're checking in all avenues on what's going on with you because you're so important, not to just yourself, but to the world. So you want to make sure they're there for them health wise. So yes, please contact Oliver. This is his email address, and he would be so happy to talk to you about anything that you're dealing with. Again, Oliver, thank you so much. And everybody, we will see you at the next Achieve Expert Highlight Show with another wonderful Achieve member or leader. But till then, I just want everybody to understand that whatever you do in life, whatever you try in life, make sure that you go for it. Always work towards the success that you want to. And that's when you can really achieve in what you're trying to do. Talk to you later.